Says we're live. Let me get my writing in front of me here. All right. And it is straight up 8 o'clock. Hi there, and welcome to this day in history for February 22nd. February 22nd is the 53rd day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, with 312 days remaining to the end of the year, or 313 in leap years. Today's word is truffle. Truffle is a noun that means the dark or light edible fruiting body of several varieties of European fungi, basically an underground mushroom. Truffle can also mean a candy made of chocolate, butter, sugar, sometimes liqueur, shaped into balls and often coated with cocoa. Many candy makers make truffles. I'm partial to the Lindor milk chocolate truffles. First known use of the word truffle is 1591. It comes to us from Middle French and Latin before that. I'd like to take a moment to mention that links to my research are included in the show notes. I ask you to go ahead and click that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with others with the link in your email, messaging, or social media. Also, there is a link in the show notes to my This Day in History playlist, and I'll be sure to put that up in the corner as well once the live is done and we go to replay. And with that, Robert II became King of Scotland on February 22nd, 1371, beginning the Stuart dynasty. On February 20, what was I thinking of? This next item, it happened on the 22nd, but I typed 26. We need to correct that. 22nd. Alrighty, on February 22nd, 1495, King Charles VIII of France entered Naples, which is in Italy, by the way, entered Naples to claim the city's throne. And I'm probably not imagining it accurately, but I imagined the king with his posse marching into the city and saying, "All right, I'm here to take over." I don't know how well that might go, but on February 22nd, 1495, King Charles VIII of France did it. This is the birthday of George Washington, born February 22nd, 1732. He saw us through the Revolutionary War and then became the first president of the United States. He's considered the father of our country, and he died in 1799 at the age of 67. The United States Republican Party opened its first national convention in Pittsburgh on February 22nd, 1856. On February 22nd, 1862, Jefferson Davis was officially inaugurated for a 6-year term as President of the Confederate States of America in Richmond, Virginia. The Prohibition Party held its first national convention in Columbus, Ohio on February 22nd, 1872. They nominated James Black as their presidential nominee. Frank Woolworth opened the first of many 5 and dime Woolworth stores on February 22nd, 1878. First Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and Washington, First Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, and Washington, all became U.S. states on February 22nd, 1889, when President Grover Cleveland signed a bill making it so. This is the birthday of Edna St. Vincent Millay, born February 22nd, 1892. There we go. She was an American poet and playwright. Now, I think most of her poems were longer pieces, but here's a short one called The Unexplorer. There was a road ran past our house, too lovely to explore. I asked my mother once. She said that if you followed where it led, it brought you to the milkman's store. That's why I have not traveled more. That's it. That's the poem. Edna St. Vincent Millay lived until 1950 when she died at the age of 58. Now, we mentioned Orkney just a few days ago. It's a little collection of islands or an archipelago off the northeastern tip of Scotland. And today there's an item about a place called the South Orkney Islands. And as it turns out, it is a completely different place. South Orkney Islands are a little collection of islands or an archipelago in the South Atlantic Ocean. And it's interesting to note that the southern tip of South America curls up, I don't have a picture, makes a perfect little curl off to the east. Just a little swoop off to the east. Sort of like the swirl on a soft serve ice cream cone. Perfect little hook. Well, maybe not so little because it's on the end of a continent. But when you're looking at a map this big, it doesn't look that big. It looks pretty small on that little map. Farther south, Antarctica has a peninsula that reaches north, sort of towards South America, but also curling off to the east. Now, both of those curls point to this little archipelago that was indeed named after the Scottish Orkney Islands. These are the South Orkney Islands. Now, all that said, on February 22nd, 1904, the United Kingdom sold a meteorological station on the South Orkney Islands to Argentina. Interestingly, then, United Kingdom claimed the South Orkney Islands as theirs in 1908, which was about 4 years later, but I'm sure that's another story for another day. There were several items of World War II news on February 22nd in various years. I did touch upon some of them in last year's video, which I will also link up in the iCards there once this is done and we go to replay. And I did mention the long telegram last year, the long telegram last year. This was an 8,000 word telegram, which, and the telegram, by the way, you could kind of think of it as something like that day's version of today's texting. That's a gross oversimplification, but they used it for as immediate form of communication as possible. You actually had to either go to the telegram office or call in and give them your message, and they would, and then send it out in printed form. So, someone was at your door delivering a telegram, you knew it was important news and probably not all that good a news. But this was an 8,000 word telegram in which the Deputy Chief of Mission of the United States to the USSR had a lot to say about how the United States ought to deal with Soviet communism. 8,000 words. Most pages in your average novel average about 250 words. So that would be roughly equivalent to 35 pages. Anyway, the long telegram arrived from the U.S. Embassy in Moscow on February 22nd, 1946. Egypt and Syria joined on February 22nd, 1958 to form the United Arab Republic. Lee Petty won the first Daytona 500 on February 22nd, 1959. This is the birthday of actress Drew Barrymore, born February 22nd, 1975. She turns 46 in 2021. On February 22nd, 1983, a play titled Moose Murders opened and closed, a play so bad that it is widely considered to be the standard of awfulness against which all Broadway failures are judged. In fact, they will say that Moose Murders, the moniker of Moose Murders, has become synonymous with Broadway plays that are so bad that they open and close on the same night. Now, in looking into this, I did scan the plot of this play, and I have to agree, it does sound pretty awful, pretty awful. Moose Murders. On February 22nd, 1997, British scientists announced that an adult sheep named Dolly had been successfully cloned. On February 22nd, 2005, a 6.4 earthquake struck in Iran, killing 612 people and injuring over 1,400 people. And on February 22nd, 2011, New Zealand's second deadliest earthquake, 6.2 magnitude, struck Christchurch, New Zealand, killing 185 people. And I apologize for ending on a note of earthquakes and death, but that is all I have for you today. I hope you learned something you didn't know before. I know I sure did. As always, links to my research are included in the show notes. And as I said, I'll be sure to add a link up there once the live is done and we go to replay. And I'll put a link for last year's episode up there as well. All righty, just checking through here. All righty, I guess that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.